Atlanta has always been a city where drama doesn't just exist, it thrives. For over a decade, it has served as a backdrop for some of the most explosive moments in reality television. Here, scandals don't whisper, they roar. Marriages unravel under the glare of cameras, and friendships that once seemed unbreakable fall apart with a single shady confession. Even courtroom battles are transformed into storylines, stretched out for primetime ratings. This is a city where divorces become headlines, side chicks turn into overnight celebrities, and sisterhoods are tested in front of millions. Atlanta is messy. Atlanta is dramatic. Atlanta is the beating heart of reality TV. So when TV announced the return of the Braxtons, expectations weren't just about more chaos. This time, it felt different. This wasn't just another season. It came after the loss of Tracy Braxton, the sister who had always been a quiet balance and a loud family, love for her honesty and her humor.
Excuse me, if you walk away from a confrontation, okay?
I mean, it's tough being on the outside. And the people making faces while you... I catches it all, honey.
Listen to me very carefully. We're not singing anymore today on camera.
I'm done. I can't do it. We can't ever seem to just have fun. You gotta get it. Tamar, come here.
Mommy.
Tamar, go. Wait.
And her ability to stand her ground, even when she wasn't the center of attention. Fans weren't looking for fights. They weren't craving chaos. What they wanted was dignity. They wanted healing. They hoped to see a family united in love, honoring the sister who was no longer there. But from the very first episode of season 1, it became clear that wasn't what they were going to get. Instead of centering Tracy Braxton's memory, the spotlight shifted sharply to her husband, Kevin Surratt Sr., and her son, Kevin Jr. at first. Some viewers tried to give the benefit of the doubt. Maybe the producers were trying to tell Tracy's story through her husband's perspective.
The issue is that I feel like Tracy and Kevin is holding this like vendetta against me since the shows that happened in New York and in DC.
Did you say anything to Tracy about this?
I didn't say anything to Tracy about this because she has an attitude with me.
So you weren't even able to talk to Tracy?
I wasn't able to talk to Tracy because my plan was to talk to Tracy after the show because we do Love and War together at the end, take a bow for the audience. She left though. I was like, where's Tracy at?
Eyes. Maybe it was meant to show the story through his perspective. Maybe it was about Kevin Jr.'s journey through grief. But it didn't take long for the tone to shift. Kevin Sr. wasn't being portrayed as a grieving husband. He was being framed as the villain. Every tense exchange between him and the Braxton sisters was stretched in editing. Every sharp look, every uncomfortable pause, replayed in promos. What should have felt like private family conversations instead came across like fights crafted for prime time, and fans weren't buying it. By episode 3, social media had erupted. Viewers called it what it felt like, not a tribute, but a spectacle. They accused the network of turning grief into a storyline, of exploiting Tracy's memory instead of honoring it. Comment sections filled with outrage. Long-form breakdowns flooded YouTube. Reddit threads picked apart every scene, questioning the ethics of it all. Then came the breaking point. Episode 5. That's when Kevin Sr. finally snapped. Sitting at the table, grief hardened into anger, he looked straight into the cameras. His voice shook, but his words carried weight. He accused the sisters of shutting him out of Tracy's legacy, of controlling her music, her estate, even her voice. It was raw. It was uncomfortable. And it was unforgettable. The room fell silent, but not for long. Tawanda fired back, her voice cutting through the tension. She accused him of using Tracy's name for attention, of turning grief into something self-serving. The argument exploded, and in the middle of it all sat Kevin Jr., a young man who had just lost his mother, a young man who should have been protected. Instead, the cameras zoomed in as his composure broke. His shoulders shook. Tears streamed down his face as his voice cracked with one desperate plea. Please, just stop. Stop tearing each other apart. That should have ended everything. It should have brought the family together. Instead, it became another moment for television. And that's when fans truly lost it. Outrage surged again, stronger this time. People questioned how something so deeply personal could be broadcast like entertainment. Edits of Kevin Jr.'s pain spread across social media, often paired with clips of Tracy herself. reminders of the grace she carried in life. Fans weren't just angry anymore. They were heartbroken. But here's the uncomfortable truth. As the backlash grew louder, so did the ratings. People watched. They debated. They dissected every second. And despite the criticism, the show became one of the most talked about returns on television. Because in the end, controversy sells. So it wasn't surprising when rumors of a second season began almost immediately. And when the trailer finally dropped, it started with something unexpected. Hope. There were glimpses of healing. The sisters standing together at Tracy's grave. Tears, embraces, quiet moments of unity. Even hints of new beginnings, like working on a family album. For a moment, it felt like redemption. Like maybe they had listened. But then came the final seconds at a dinner table. All the sisters present. The atmosphere heavy, fragile. Tamar's voice breaking the silence, soft, almost pleading, "Come on, y'all, let's not do this." It should have been a moment of peace. Instead, it was a spark. Toni, usually calm, composed, suddenly snapped. Her chair scraped back. Her voice rose. The tension that had been simmering for years finally boiled over as she lunged toward Tamar. Then, black, silence. Just a gasp hanging in the air. 0.3 seconds. That's all it took to send the internet into chaos. Debates exploded instantly. Some defended Toni, calling her the backbone of the family, arguing that years of pressure had finally pushed her to the edge. Others stood firmly with Tamar, saying she had long been dismissed, unheard, and pushed aside. The fan base split down the middle. Online, it became a courtroom. Old clips resurfaced. Past arguments were re-examined. Every look, every word from the trailer was analyzed frame by frame. People weren't just watching anymore. They were investigating. And behind the scenes, whispers only made things messier. Rumors suggested the tension didn't start at that dinner. It had been building for years. Off-camera conversations. Confessionals. Old wounds reopened. Some even claimed the full fight was far more intense than what the trailer showed. Whatever the truth was, one thing felt undeniable. This wasn't just drama. This was history unraveling in real time, and looming over all of it was Tracy's absence. Fans kept repeating the same painful thought. She had been the glue. Without her, everything felt off balance. Old clips of her comforting her sisters resurfaced, making the contrast even more heartbreaking. Even Evelyn, the family's matriarch, seemed to carry that weight. Her quiet plea echoed through the trailer. A mother who had already lost one daughter, afraid of losing more to pride and division. So what was this fight really about? No one knew for sure. Some believed it was about guilt. Others pointed to money, legacy, unresolved resentment. Maybe it was all of it at once. Years of pain finally spilling over. But that uncertainty is exactly what pulled people in. Because the trailer didn't just tease drama. It promised something deeper. Something raw. Something uncomfortable. And despite everything, people couldn't look away. Because this isn't just another season, it's a turning point, a moment that could redefine the Braxton family legacy, shifting it from music and unity to conflict and fracture. When the screen went black, it didn't just leave viewers curious. IT left them holding their breath, waiting to find out what was said and whether this family can survive what comes next.